Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at a premium tier 6 destroyer that has been requested actually a couple of times, because apparently no one's paid much attention to it, and it's a German one, so I will. This is the Karl von Schönberg, a hypothetical destroyer, because at least there was none with the name. Karl von Schönberg, however, was a real person. He was the captain of the light cruiser Nürnberg, not the Nürnberg we have at tier 6 in the game, but the First World War vintage one. And he was sailing under Admiral von Spee in the First World War, when von Spee's East Asia squadron was wreaking some havoc on the British in the Pacific off the coast of Chile. And then afterwards run into the British around the Falkland Islands. And unfortunately at the time the British had managed to bring some battle cruisers, which severely outgunned things. So von Spee's armored cruisers or large cruisers went down. And while the Nürnberg was trying to escape, she was eventually sunk by the British cruiser Kent. And most of the crew, didn't make it out of the battle anymore. And that was sort of the end of the Pacific South Atlantic operations that the Germans were running against the British trade at the time. So the ship is very much in the tradition of naming in that regard, but this is one of the original, and this is where it gets really interesting, one of the original 150mm designs that wasn't super successful from what the Germans were trying, because, well, these were basically cruiser guns. And the idea was generally to be able to take on the French large destroyers. They tended to be a little top-heavy. We actually had, starting with the Ernst Gaede, in the original German tech tree, 150mm cruiser guns. They were later changed to the ahistorical 128mm destroyer guns that we find today on the Gaede and that line going forward, whereas the other line, the Elbing line, gets the 150s. So this is technically because the Elbing line doesn't start. Let me actually show you that. It's easier than if I'm just talking about it. So if you're not familiar with super familiar with the German destroyers, at tier 6 is the split of the line. Then you have the line going through the Leberecht Mars until the Z-52. These are the sort of all-round destroyer line boats. And then you've got the scout cruiser line going up to the Elbing, which have cruiser caliber guns, extremely slow but long-range torpedoes, and extremely hard-hitting armor piercing. And these are basically scout cruisers. So in some way, the Karl von Schönberg plugs the hole that has been left at tier 6 and brings back the original Ernst Gaede in a way. So let's actually start comparing the ship to some of these things. Let's see how she compares to the Ernst Gaede, the tech tree tier 6 German. Both have the engine boost, but the Karl von Schönberg gets a smoke, whereas the Ernst Gaede gets the typical sonar consumable that we have on German destroyers. The hulls are relatively similar, both in number of hit points and everything else, and in terms of maneuverability. The guns is where one of the main differences is, because the Gaede has the 128mm guns. And you could say, or you could argue that, and many did at the beginning, said why would they lose so much firepower with the down tiering from 150s to 128s. The 128s are better because they have a higher rate of fire and still very, very good armor piercing shells. The 150s are fun, but the 128, I would say, in terms of practicality, are actually a better caliber for the destroyers, especially in destroyer-on-destroyer engagements. Here we have the 150s, which have a slightly better range, and they obviously do more damage, given that these are 150mm cannons, but you pay for it with a 2-second longer base reload. Torpedoes are exactly the same. so is the AA, and for all intents and purposes, so is the concealment. So the Karl von Schönberg is the Ernst Gaede as it was, more or less, with very minor variations, with the original guns, and with a smoke screen instead of the sonar. If we compare her to the Z31, the Tier 7 on the Scout Cruiser line, so the first one after the split, the Z31 has, for all intents and purposes, the same number of guns. They have a marginally faster reload and a marginally longer range, but these are technically the same guns that you get on Tier 7. 4 guns, same firepower. And obviously the torpedoes are different because the Z31's torpedoes are having a longer range but are very slow and take forever to reload. The Z31 is not a very good ship at Tier 7. But the Karl von Schönberg at Tier 6 looks like a very interesting ship. So how can we set this one up? You get the choice between improving your torpedoes, and I don't know why you would want to, because this is very much a gunboat. So making the guns reload faster and turn faster is the way to go here. You have the historical camouflage if you want it, and this one gives you main battery range, torpedo range, traverse and surface detection. So this is actually a really good historical camouflage, and also it's very pretty. So why wouldn't you? Yes, I know, because it costs gold, but it's still, you know, you already paid money for a ship, may as well. Setup wise, I would there are two choices really. You can go for the main battery mod 1 and get the turrets to rotate a bit faster, or you can go for the reload and take into account that you may lose a turret at times. I'm personally going for the reload here because this is a gunboat and it is very fun at that. Slot 2 is unsurprisingly propulsion. Really, there is no other option in slot 2 to be honest. And slot 3 is concealment for a destroyer. So with that, we have a reload of just shy of 6 seconds, and we have a concealment of 5.4 kilometers, which is pretty decent. And yes, we have some very, very fun 150mm guns on this ship. I have obviously used von Spee as the legendary commander here, which makes a lot of sense, given that von Schönberg was sailing under von Spee. And he's also got the best skills for this kind of setup. He brings the Torpedo Alert Plus, given that we don't have a sonar, that is a bonus. We get warned earlier. 6th sense, so you know when people are shooting at you. Preheating Plus and Daredevil, good for destroyers. He's got the Mistweaver, which is pretty neat for the Scout Cruiser line anyway. So, and you have a single smoke screen, so you might as well use it. And most importantly, he brings the APCS Plus skill, which makes these guns even better. But he's going to be sailing with it only in the second battle. First battle, regular commander 6-point setup. All right, let's go. The first round is a 5v5 domination on the straight map against Bayern, New Mexico, New York, a Kirkdine, and a Mutski. There is a carrier in play, but the carriers are bots, so I don't really count them. Kirkdine, I remember that Sly47 was doing a video on like a race to the bottom of the worst ships in the game. I can't remember if Kirkdine was one of them, but I'll have to actually check that and see what came out. I think it was Dutch cruisers that came out at the bottom, something like that. We have a bot Auber and I think a Britannia with us. The Britannia is an awful ship. And the Normandy at Tier 6 isn't much better. But we have an engine boost, so we may as well use it and get ourselves into the capture circle with only one destroyer on the enemy team. We have spotted one of the battleships, which is unsurprising. And the bot carrier isn't going to scout because it's a bot carrier. It will wait until the first ship is spotted until it starts sending out. So I'm gonna go through C just to see if I can take the capture circle. That's the bot Agano over there, and then I will already be heading over into B cap. And let's get some torpedoes out. Of course, the bot is having magic torpedo dodging powers. So we'll see if we can catch him with a second spread. And then we'll make ourselves scarce here because we are being shot at. And there are two battleships over here that I can leave to it. I will try to just take B cap in the meantime while the carrier is coming in as well. And well done, Auba. You managed to torpedo a bot. I am proud of you. Good job there. Okay, now the two battleships over there, and I don't know where the Britannia is. He's probably not willing to get into a fight with these, and rightfully so, because the Britannia is going to die. These two battleships, well, I can still do some damage with my guns here, and there's no reason not to, because they've got a bot to shoot at. But I am controlling the capture circle here now, and Britannia may be able to get some shots off, but we'll drop some torpedoes. This is mid-tier, so we'll assume that they will run into them. And then I'll see if I can do something about this about this carrier over there. While Britannia is taking on these two, hopefully my torpedoes can make a difference. But I would like to get that pesky Independence away, because with that thing of flying planes over me, there's no way I can ever go undetected. So it looks like we've got 5 torpedoes on target, which is nice. And yeah, I'll come back, Britannia. I'll help out. I just want to see if I can do something about the carrier. Usually the bots are starting to move once you shoot at them. So I'm just kind of waiting for that to happen. We are holding B cap. Bot is not willing to move, and I don't want to spend all the time sailing over there. Just to be far out of the battle. So yeah, okay, well, we'll just leave the carrier where he is. Okay, you've got one torpedo drop. I have to help out with it. I have to help the Britannia back there, because it's a Britannia. He's not gonna be able to do anything. All right, as much as I like farming the bot carrier, let's get back into the capture circle and help that Britannia out. Retake C cap. No, never mind. Britannia is dead. We've landed a torpedo on the carrier, but bot carrier did not want to move. So I don't think the Britannia has done any damage to anybody, because it's a Britannia, it can't do that. So I've got a full health New York and a bayonet. I can citadel through the deck armor. And this isn't even with the APCS. But generally you still want to aim weak spots. Now this is a good moment to use my smoke screen, because the Bayern has sonar. And yes, that bot carrier is annoying as heck with his torpedoes here. So pushing me out of my smoke, actually. And that is purely coincidental, because I actually stopped in my smoke. And I really need to get that Bayern killed. I can gun down the Bayern pretty easily. He's on low health, and he's struggling to actually hit me with his guns. And then we'll drop some torpedoes onto the New York. I mean, it's mid-tier. He's probably going to run into them. We'll find out. So and then we'll shoot at him. I find it best to assume that players at mid tiers generally don't know how to dodge torpedoes. The carrier keeps being annoying, because I am the only ship. What? Oh, 3 torpedoes. Okay, so he has dodged somewhat. Carrier keeps being annoying because he keeps keeping me spotted, because I'm the only ship in the area that he can shoot at. But we're now holding all 3 of the capture circles, and yes, there is a Kirkdine behind that island there. I know that. I'm not afraid of the Kirkdine. I can gun that thing down, and then I can just torpedo the New York when he is. Okay, when torpedoes are reloaded, just avoid the shots from the New York. That thing can't hit the broadside of the barn from the inside at that distance. And see if we can. We have gone undetected, so we can drop some stealth torpedoes onto the New York and then get back to dealing with the Kirkdine, presuming that the New York is going to come through this gap here, and before the carrier is coming for me again. So torpedoes, there you have it. And I just got myself spotted, as I've waited a little bit too long, unfortunately, which means the New York's now aware and is probably going to dodge some of these torpedoes at least. And back to the Kirkdine. Hello, Mr. Kirkdine. You're firing high explosive at a destroyer? You are no threat to anybody. I am sorry to say that. I can gun you down. New York has avoided some of the torpedoes. And I'm going to get to have fun with the Kirkdine. And but we're 400 points ahead. This should be in the bag. My team has managed to clean up the other end of the battlefield, so that should be okay. And that is just a matter of finishing that thing off. Have some torpedoes, and he is outside my effective torpedo range, but he is sailing towards me. So all I have to do is kite away, and then he can run into those torpedoes. because while they don't have they wouldn't have had the range to hit him. They do have the range to hit him when he is sailing towards them, and that is the end of the Kirkdine. We have used all our heals, all our consumables. We're down to 1700 hit points. I would say we've done our job as a German destroyer. That is generally how you want to German destroyer. And that just leaves the New York, which has, played well, and for a tier 5 ship managed to avoid most of my torpedoes, which is a good job there. But I think the Minikaze's got this one, so I don't think we can snatch that kill from him. And no, he's got that one. Well done, Minikaze. New York had no chance. GG. So yeah, this is the General Karl von Schönberg experience, with which is sort of the original Ernst Gaede experience that you have at tier 6. And it's, yes, you can score citadels against enemy battleships. Great gunboat, good torpedo boat, and generally good workhorse. Second round is a little bit of a nightmare for a destroyer player normally. We've got a carrier, there's a Bogue on the enemy team, double Fuso, that's not the problem. But triple Nürnberg. Hang on, Terry, what are you talking about? There's 2 Admiral Makarovs. Yes, the Makarov is the premium version of the Nürnberg after it had been handed over to the Soviets, and it gets 360 turrets in the mix. An actual Nürnberg and an Ernst Gaede. So a slight nightmare there for destroyers, but we'll see what we can make of it. I am in a Karl von Schönberg, and I am not afraid of no Nürnberg. I used to sail that thing. Karl von Schönberg used to, and not that Nürnberg, but you know what I mean. You get the idea. Anyway, first order of business, switch the guns over to the armor piercing. That is unfortunately something that I will never understand, why these 150s are starting out with high explosive. The German high explosive is terrible, and you really, really don't want to use high explosive on these. You do want the armor piercing. We'll try to get out of the, that's why I'm boosting the engine here, we'll try to get out of the initial spotting circle of the enemy aircraft, because enemy aircraft spotting has been nerfed in the last update, so that should be something I could do. It depends on how close the enemy aircraft are coming, and if these coming out towards me or if they're sailing past me. They are flying past me, so they have not actually managed to spot me. And we do have the Admiral Makarov over there. So first of 3 Nürnbergs. And we do outspot that thing, obviously. But very, very dangerous light cruiser. So he goes undetected, but not for long. I got him again. And he's coming towards me. So let's drop the torpedoes ahead and ahead of the turn, and then start. I'm sort of hoping that he's going to turn in towards me, but he has actually started opening up at the other ship here. That's following me now. He's firing at me. Obviously, he's firing armor piercing. Obviously that hurts, but that's fine. We're getting away from him, and he now has to evade my my torpedoes. We've managed to get a torpedo hit on target and take out his rudder, so he's burned his damage control. But we do need to be a little careful, because that is a Nürnberg, and these things are dangerous. But I ain't afraid of no Nürnberg. Let's go on. He's run into the Fuso. I'm pretty sure we can get him with the guns. As we do have the faster reload, even though we are significantly lower in terms of guns. But you don't have to sail broadside onto them. That's why you're in a destroyer. You duke the shots, and there you go. That's one down. I have lost a significant amount of hit points, but that's an Admiral Makarov down. Unfortunately, my team is sort of lemming training here. But there is the Fuso, and of course there's the other Admiral Makarov. So we get to do it all over again, and shall we? Let's go! Don't want to get much closer than that, because these things can make my life very, very short. I do want to get my next heal before I'm doing anything fancy here, but I do have a smoke screen, and while these things have sonar, I don't think he's got the sonar range. And he has the historical camo, so 5.6 odd kilometer torpedo range on this thing. But I'm more interested on dropping my torpedoes at the Fuso, who has obviously realized that I'm here, because there's a smoke screen, and is maybe turning, but you never know, maybe not. I'm not going to hang around in this smoke screen and let some of them get a lucky blind shot here. But we'll keep kiting away from the Makarov and do what we can to get that thing killed. Yeah, the one downside that Nuremberg class light cruisers are having is that their guns are in the rear, which means they do need to give you broadside in order to, or sail away from you in order to get all your guns on target. If they're in a chase, they are not actually that effective. So a backwards Nuremberg is actually much more dangerous because, yeah, like that. There's the incoming fire. So let's make ourselves again scarce. But I think I've got him. So one more salvo out. Yeah, that hurts. He's healing. Okay, so I need a second one. Come on, I want this thing dead. Dive under that one. We've got 2,000 hit points left. Engine boost up. And he's getting away. Yeah, I'll get you. I'll get you. Forward turrets out. Oh, come on. One more hit. I only need one more hit. 1,700 hit points is 1,700 more than I need. And the Admiral Makarov is dead. So instead of getting to farm the Fuso, who is still firing armor piercing at me, which is not wrong at this range and could have completely one-shot me, I had to fight 2 of the 3 Nürnbergs, and the third one is down at our capture circle, so at least I don't have to deal with that thing. But 2 out of the 3 Nürnbergs, and there is the enemy carrier as well. I don't have a smokescreen left. Fuso is reversing. And he was trying to, he knows what he's doing. He's trying to bait my torpedoes. So I've waited to see if he was, if he kept reversing, because now he's going forward. So he thought, I got you now, destroyer. You dropped your torpedoes. I'm going to go forward and then I'm going to dodge them all while being on permafire and permaflood. Still no reason to use the high explosive. There never is a good reason to use the high explosive on these things. I've still got, I'm out of heals, that's all good. I've still got 1,500 hit points and the Fuso is down. Unfortunately only 3 torpedo hits because he was already running low on hit points. And now it's just a matter of, well, the enemy carrier is far away. So we've got a minute to, I know where he is. He's in the corner of the map because you can see where the planes are coming from. So I've got a minute to talk about this ship. Yeah, this is an excellent ship, just like the Ernst Gaede is, especially because it's tier 6 and with a bit of skill of steering your destroyer, you can do a lot of damage with these gunboat DDs. Good gunboat, good torpedo boat, a good all-round ship, gets a smokescreen, gets the engine boost, no sonar, which is kind of the only downside here. Would have been nice if they had given us 1 sonar maybe, but not complaining here. It's nostalgic. It's how the Ernst Gaede used to be. I'm not saying that the Ernst Gaede is bad now. And like I said, the 128s are actually, I would say, almost superior. But this sort of gives you that cruiser feel of these 150mm guns back, and it's just fun. It's a good fun tier 6 destroyer, and yeah, if you like German destroyers, I can recommend to anybody. And now we've got a boat to shoot at, so that's where we be gunboating, because that thing is not going to survive until we're in torpedo range. So we'll just collect some capture points and see if we can get the kill on the boat, because he is the last enemy ship alive. And it's not. Is he moving forward? Yes, he is actually moving forward. Not going to help him in any way, but I got him. Mine. So snatching the last kill is fair game, right? Last kill is fair game. So yeah, this is a great little T6 destroyer. This is a great fun ship, and I have no idea where it was available. Was it in a shop, or was it in a Blitz pass or something? I have no idea. I just noticed that a couple of people have been asking me about it, so I figured I'll put it in there, or out there rather. And as you can see, if you can do 50,000 points of damage with the guns alone. If you can get a couple of torpedoes on target, you can easily get up to 80,000 plus with the ship. So very good tier 6 destroyer, very fun ship, good to play. And that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.